Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Man, We're Too Old for This, here on the Eternal Network. I'm your host, the experience that some call Jason, and with me today is...
CDL 113.
The Todd Father.
And the token fridge sushi, Tarky.
And today we're starting what will probably turn out to be a series of really just kind of fan theorizing and spitballing on where we think Marvel could go with their characters now. Today we're going to talk about the Hulk. Todd, you want to give us a rundown on where the Hulk is at as of Endgame?
As of Endgame, you basically have the MCU version. A lot of people say it's the Professor Hulk. Those of us that are actual Hulk fans know that it is not the Professor Hulk. It is more the Banner Hulk from the 80s. He has Bruce Banner's personality. You don't really get the impression he's quite as strong as he used to be. And after undoing Thanos' snap, he is now short in arm. He still has it, but it's fricasseed all to be down.
Yeah, it's withered to hell.
Yeah, it's withered up and tore from the floor. So you basically have a giant green Mark Ruffalo with one arm.
Now, there's been some... Hulk's one of those characters that they've licensed out, that Marvel licensed out early in this run of comic movies. Where does that stand? Has Disney gotten him back, or is Universal still holding the reins?
No. Universal still holds the reins. Disney can use him in other people's movies. You know, like Avengers and Thor and Ragnarok and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't do a Hulk movie on its own.
Okay. Do we know how long that deal continues on?
Based on what Tony was saying, it wraps up October of next year.
Okay, so after that point, they could potentially do
you
could
have
Hulk movies.
You could have a Hulk movie after that.
Barring Universal being like, we're doing another one, and slapping real quick.
Well, that depends on the nature of the contract. The contract may have a hard end date, or it could be one of those that if they had something in production, who knows.
But it's also probably a thing of Disney sitting there going, we will pay you this much a year to not make a Hulk film.
Or it could be Disney sitting there going, well, pre the beer virus, Disney going, if you don't let us have it back, we'll buy you. Just look what we did to Fox.
Yeah.
The problem is that's not really a threat to the people that own Universal, because they'd make a mint if Disney bought them.
Yeah, but yeah. I still believe it. That was the big thing with the Fox mergers, because hell, they wanted the X-Men back. And they were done with the Avengers, and they wanted that damn property back.
Yep. X-Men and Fantastic Four, for that matter.
Yeah.
I mean, X-Men was the one that has proven successful so far, but... Alright, so we've kind of got a wussed-out Hulk.
Yep. You got a wimpy Hulk
that's maimed.
That's horribly maimed.
So where would you want the character to go from here?
Tarky had the best idea I've heard.
So, outside of the movies, in the comics, the Hulk is currently very much in kind of a mystical place with an entity called the Green, I believe.
No, it's the one below all.
One below all, sorry.
Yep.
But you see him you meet him by going through the green door to go to his kind of the realm it's in right now. Which is basically hell.
Yep.
Well, a
but
hell.
Basically,
Marvel is like Chinese mythology. It's got a lot of hells.
But basically, anything that's had the gamma radiation pass through them has a connection to this door.
Yep.
With the MCU, with how popular it's in the comic, you could introduce it in the movies and no one would really make a fuss. Like a negative fuss, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Any more so than they make a negative fuss about anything.
Yeah. Now, for people that are only into the movies, though, this would really catch them off guard.
Right. No one that has only seen the movies would know what this is.
But
but
you've introduced Doctor Strange, so the fact that mystical stuff is out there, would still fit.
Right. And it also fits in slightly with the science fits in it explaining why gamma radiation is dangerous, even though nowadays we know what gamma radiation is, and it can't do the things it does in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So giving a slightly mystical explanation like that is helpful, as far as like, disbelief. But you could have it in, him still. Sorry, had a little cough there. You could have it start up with him still being the Hulk we know at the end of Endgame, but he's researching a way to, hey, let me get my arm back up to snuff. Let me figure out a way to fix this. As is, the problem in many movies of the quote-unquote mad scientist trying to fix something and it goes horribly awry.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And, he's figuring, okay, if I can juice myself with this much more radiation, it'll kind of pump into the arm, flesh it back out, and I'll lose a little control, but not enough to really worry anything. I'll still be me, I'll still be on top. I'll still have everything worked out just fine. And, but then there's, and then to help introduce She-Hulk, yeah, there could be some kind of legal thing of like, no, we do not want, some legal thing of, yeah, no one wants you to do this. It's too it's dangerous. But, he has a lawyer cousin. So, they could hash it out of introducing her as like his legal confidant to like try to push to allow him to do this legally. And, after several no's, he goes, well, I'm just going to go off in the desert and do it myself. But, cousin follows him. And then, he juices himself, he feels his arm, and he turns around and it's, complete darkness and the green door in front of him. Where, in the MCU, if you juice yourself a little bit, maybe you're connected, maybe you're not. But once you go over a certain limit, yeah, it just introduces itself to you. You just see it flat out.
I like your idea of having his cousin there because she could get caught in kind of the backlash of it,
Right?
and then you don't see, and then she doesn't do anything weird until the after credit scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, the trick is you're already gonna have a She-Hulk show. That's already announced for Disney Plus.
And they've already said Ruffalo wants to be guest star on it.
Yeah, but all the Disney Plus stuff's kind of in disarray with the pandemic, so depending on how they spaced and timed this stuff out.
And also, you could just have a working Hulk in the She-Hulk show, if this was their plan.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's not if this was. You could just have him fixed to her running around without an introduction, and the introduction be in their Hulk movie.
Yeah.
That's true.
Just like how you had Spider-Man show up in Civil War with no explanation.
I like the idea of the Immortal Hulk running around in the MCU, though, just because that's the one Marvel book out right now that I really like.
That could be something. That could be something they do. He juices himself. He sees the green door. When he wakes up, he's just Banner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then somebody does something to Banner, and bad things happen that night.
Well,
what I would like
you could reintroduce the leader at that point of him going, oh, you're back to being a normal Banner. Well, I'm going to hire someone to go out and shoot you.
What I would like to see is, how they'll film a movie in pieces, but show it out of order, like chronological order. Have it start out with the Hulk, like in the books. You've got one book where Hulk is chopped up and floating in different jars.
You will never have that in the movie because it's too graphic.
Yeah.
It'd be rated R. You couldn't have chunks of.
Well, they're already going to do a Deadpool movie rated R, so why not?
Now,
yeah,
they are not going to do a Hulk movie rated R, Danny.
They ain't gonna do a rated R Hulk.
Now,
Deadpool, you go into a Deadpool movie expecting his shit to be rated R.
You might be able to get a head floating in a jar. You might be able to get just the head. But even that would be up in the air.
Idea. You have, Jason did. Yeah, he wakes up back. You see the green door. He wakes up Banner. And you wonder what the hell's going on. And then because that was not only would be a tone shift in its own, because the book is a tone shift. The Immortal Hulk's a horror book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Seeing him morph out Cronenberg style into the Hulk in a movie would be just jarring. That'd be some unnerving shit. And one of the cool things that they've gotten away from it, because it set a hard rule, but I kind of like the whole thing of the nighttime is his time. Some nights he changes, some nights he don't. Just kind of depends.
It's what he wants.
But he could only come out at night. That was a neat little. It felt old school comics to me back when you have rules back in the Thor couldn't go without Mjolnir for 60 seconds without changing back kind of thing. Gave it a structure that I liked.
And to go back to that time disconjointed, it could be Banner's doing something, but it would be a hard shift just because in the MCU you do not see rough McGruff stuff happening all that often. But the idea could be, something happens to him that would have killed him. It goes dark, it goes bright again, he gets up, he's fine. He's somewhere else, and it's a day later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it kind of jumps back to like seeing bits and pieces of him, like people saying they saw something, and he's starting to remember it, and then it triggers, and then you see the events of what happened for that day.
Yeah,
as the introduction of this is the Immortal Hulk. This is not the same Hulk we were dealing with.
I do like your idea of them bringing the leader into it, though. That's been a dangling, plot thread that they haven't done anything with. Mostly because they tend to, other than bringing in Thunderbolt Ross, they mostly ignore the Norton Hulk.
And it would be, honestly, I would like the idea of the leader almost being a secondary villain.
Well, you could have him setting up like the intelligentsia or being kind of the behind-the-scenes mastermind.
Well, I also mean in the aspect of introducing the Green Door. Yeah, he went, human experimentation lends itself to danger, where animals tend to kind of have a single thing they want, and he's doing gamma experimentations with animals, and boosts one too much, and the animals kind of start directing him into taunting the Hulk closer and closer. I gammed up a dog enough and it started talking to me in English.
Or you could have him experimenting and at some point the Hulk gets jumped by the Harpy. They don't tell you who the Harpy is. And then you find out later on that the leader had grabbed Betty because if you go with the guy from the Norton movie, he knows who Betty is.
Yeah.
And she gets juiced up, and you got her running around as the Harpy, which is, I think, the version of her you've got in the books now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, she'd been Red She-Hulk for a while, but I think with the Green Door stuff and the horror stuff, I think they've had her running around as the Harpy again.
Yep. She's running around as a red Harpy.
Yeah.
Which is strange because she was the green Harpy.
Mm-hmm.
That's just always been that character. That character's always been Betty.
Because I tend to have for enjoying, like, a super genius constrained by something more powerful than him. So, he's kind of being forced to work for, while, doing his little trying to find a way to eke out. So, he's still a villain, but he's kind of...
He's on leash, basically.
It's kind of used to reintroduce him, because it's been so long, and to show that he is, better than he was before, and he's figured more stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the movie, it could be he's found the absolute limit you can go without hitting that green door. So, he's the top he can be at the end of the film.
But he's not the main villain. He's one that continues on after that film.
Yeah. Well, who knows if I gamma anything up, like if somehow they, in MCU verse, he beats and kills or defeats the thing, But anything that accesses the green door wakes it back up. He'll sit there at the absolute limit and go, yeah, if anything goes this high again, I'll know, Hulk will know, I've got to get rid of the Hulk before he touches an ounce more gamma radiation, or this thing will ruin my life again. You know, he's out to kill Hulk for like a selfish reason, because the Hulk, you know, if the Hulk juices by accident, well, then the green, you know, then that thing comes back.
That is one thing in the movies, though, is there's
not a lot of room for that.
Well, there's not really any reason for the leader to be all that angry with the Hulk.
Right, it does. Right, okay. And this, for
I mean,
me,
I'm not
this
saying
would
you
give
would have
more
some
a
other reason, but because you could also do the Gamma Town storyline, but I'm not sure how you'd work that in with the Green Door stuff. Because you had a lot more people show up with gamma powers then. You know, you had Soul Man and all them.
Well, you could go from the Green Door to Gamma Town.
That's true. That could always be like the next one.
If the thing from the one from below somehow gets out, and in defeating it, it kind of causes a secondary gamma eruption, and that develops into Gamma Town.
Or if you go with your idea where the leader is basically this thing's butt monkey, yeah, he sets it off trying to get it into this universe. Because that's the trick. The one below all wants in. You know, it's one of the typical kind of demonic somethings that wants into the main universe.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets in through gamma explosion. Because, you know, that's what they did in that first storyline with the Absorbing Man was, he managed to take him over when he absorbed enough of the Hulk's gamma, and then, you know, he basically went to the original test site and broke the door open. There's ways you could play around with that. It's like I said, I would.
And if it's trying to get in, you could always drag Doctor Strange into it.
Yeah, there's just some things from Hulk that I want to see that I haven't seen. There's some characters that I would like to see. I would like to see Rockin' Redeemer, and I would like to see the Immortal Hulk, just because he's different. You know, he'd be one. He wouldn't be the stupid one. He wouldn't be the banner one. He'd be kind of just short of evil.
A little scary, a little dangerous.
Yeah, because that's it. It's the Devil Hulk persona that's the immortal.
And if you drug, in dealing with the one below, if you drug Doctor Strange into it, that gives him and Hulk a relationship that you could then build into the actual Defenders at some point.
Yeah,
which would be great.
Because I so want to hear on-screen thing. Hulk's mother wears sensible shoes.
You will never hear that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
No, that's a bit too goofy.
Considering you still ain't heard Hulk's the strongest one there is, and that was something that used to be in damn near every other book.
Yeah.
They're little stingy with catchphrases.
Yeah. Even when you had the Savage one running around, he never seemed. That was always
the MCU doesn't like to be campy. Like they're too much not wanting to be campy, and it hurts me.
Yeah.
Because I like the campiness in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wouldn't want to go too far with it, but work in the catchphrases every now and then.
Well, like Halo, as a game, because I'm immediately going to pull this to video games. Halo is campy, but it's a right kind of campy where it's just like, okay, it's Master Chief. He's going to shoot his way out of a situation. Do you have a plan? Yeah, I was going to try to shoot my way out of this one, spice things up. It's like, oh, I get it. Yeah, that's what Master Chief does. He only runs and shoots.
Because it's nice and it's a shooter.
Right, but like, there's never a point where it's not.
He never talks.
Like even in like storyline, it's other people stopping Chief from running and shooting things. Oh hey, there's like in one of the later games, there's a political, someone in the political atmosphere is in trouble and needs saving. Yeah, Master Chief just runs in there and starts shooting folk. And it's the correct move, but then it's used as blackmail to like ruin his image because he's shooting up basically a Congress building.
We do a shoot first, a shoot questions, a shoot some more, and then if anybody survives, I ask a question.
No. Then if anybody asks questions, I shoot them. Excuse me.
You know, I would enjoy the campiness of like the one from beneath, popping out, talking a big game, and Hulk going, yeah, but Hulk is the strongest one there is, and then it starts the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would like that level of campiness in it, where it's like, okay, we get the phrase out, but it's in a situation where it's kind of like it hypes the moment up.
You're getting the phrase out, but you're getting it out like they got it out in Dredd. Judge Dredd's catchphrase was always, I am the law.
Oh.
Which in the Stallone version, he just kind of spouts off. But in the Dredd version, it's actually just kind of worked into a conversation. But everybody that knows Dredd and his catchphrase is pointing at the screen. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a tasteful moment where you can't tell that it's forced.
Tarky's right, though, because considering you had to go, 4 movies before you finally heard Avengers Assemble?
Yeah.
Because they treated it like the cherry on top of a milkshake.
Yeah.
Well, once they finally gave it to you, yes.
Right, but it was like, you get it once, there you go, have fun. Instead of treating it like a sauce that's here and there in the dish. They just gave it to you once.
But my biggest thing is I want the Goofy Hulk gone. Oh, I want the Goofy Hulk gone so bad.
And that would be the biggest...
cowardly.
That would be the biggest jump twist in this, was going from like that goofy kind of almost childish Hulk to, oh, this thing is,
Oh, you hurt Banner. I'm gonna break every bone in your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's something that in the books has happened several times.
Mm-hmm.
When he went from the Savage Hulk to the Gray Hulk was brutal. And that was, I can remember he was fighting X Factor one time. He was like, "Oh, you still think I'm the cuddly monster that loved, puppy dogs and baked beans? He's gone. I'm here." And that's always, the Hulk, for me at least, becomes a hell of a lot more interesting when he becomes a bit dangerous.
Yeah.
Hulk really shouldn't be nothing that you want on your superhero team. That's kind of been my problem with the Avengers kind of from jump. In the movie version, Hulk was on that team way too long. Hulk ain't something that you want around you a lot.
He's not a team player. Hulk is something you bring in when you got a big bad that you need to, whoop up on, and then you let the Hulk go upon its way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Disney couldn't make Hulk movies, so this was the only way they could use him.
Right, yeah.
And when he popped up, he's popular. People want to see him and stuff.
Oh yeah, he was the best. He was the best part of the first Avengers.
But one thing I wouldn't mind seeing, bring in the Immortal Hulk or any slightly more dangerous version of the Hulk, and then use him as a quote unquote villain in like the Fantastic Four movies.
Yeah. Oh god.
Because me and Tarky's dad has a lot of the early Fantastic Four, and my goodness, they fought the Hulk a lot back then. Like like single-digit issue numbers. And it'd be, I never cared much for Fantastic Four, but I'd dig out the ones where they were fighting the Hulk. That would just be great to see on screen. Give me a Hulk thing fight.
And with the kind of Hulk we're talking about, because you could even do after the fight, like the one from below, one from beneath, drain some of the gamma out of Hulk to try to get a more permanent state of being, and then it could lower down to kind of the dummy Savage Hulk instead.
Well, it's not it's not like the Immortal Hulk would be the main villain of an FF movie, but he could be something that people were manipulating, or he could be the physical threat to like a mastermind villain. It would just go poorly for that mastermind once Immortal realized he was being manipulated.
Yeah. But for Hulk, it could go from the Green Door to Gamma Town. It could go from Green Door to, an explosion of different gamma-powered people showing up, and suddenly the Hulk, out of nowhere, the Hulk has a universe that kind of just explodes out of one big fight. Because then suddenly Ross has a lot more meaning when there's multiple Gamma threats.
Mm-hmm. Then something like Project Greenskin kind of makes sense.
Yeah, like when you've got,
or whatever they call it.
When you've got 15 running around the U.S., you need a response.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing I wouldn't mind is going back to my have him be the villain in somebody else's movie. You could have people find out about the Immortal Hulk, realize he's dangerous, have a big push to kind of take him out, and have folk think, basically have that movie or whatever wrap up with him, big explosion, something they couldn't find him, they think he's gone. They don't, nobody's finding any sign of Banner, and then you have the old Joe Fix-It Grey Hulk walking around, who is not Banner, but is, at least human level intelligence.
Well, like you could have the end scene being like a poker game in a bad bar, and they go, someone cracks the door, goes, "Hey, we got a problem, we need to fix it," and he's just sitting there in the big coat, puts his cards down for the poker game, gets up, and you can see enough of the face to know it's.
Well, yeah, Fix-It wasn't something that passed off as a normal person, regardless.
Right.
But, he wasn't quite as large, and he was gray, so people didn't necessarily realize he was the Hulk right away.
Yeah. Like, it would be difficult to go, that's the Hulk. In traditional Marvel comics, if it's in this post-Green Door world, they could just go, oh, hey, you're another one of the Gamma accidents.
That's
you're
true.
Not the Hulk, but you're one of the Gamma people.
That's true. You could easily do that.
He could easily just pass off as another one of the people that were just gammed up. They could ask if he was the Hulk, and he's like, "Yeah, the Hulk's 6'8", I'm 6'3" and gray." Or however tall the Hulk is in the MCU.
I forget exactly.
I know he's bigger than 6 foot, but he's like probably 8 or 9. But
that'd be neat.
Like, the only issue with this is, like, we're going through the different types of Hulk super fast. But then again, we did it with Iron Man suits, so I'm not that worried about it mentally.
I don't know. As long as I get a Hulk thing fight out of it, I'm good. That's something. Now that Disney's got them both, I really want to see a Hulk thing fight.
Also, if this would be going over several movies, so it would be spaced out, they could get the X-Men up and going. Because I would not mind a Hulk Wolverine fight.
Yeah, a Hulk Wolverine fight would be nice too.
Don't know who they're going to have for Wolverine, but that's a whole other conversation.
And truthfully, when you think about it, if you went the Immortal Hulk route where it kind of leaned toward horror, you could have the Wendigo.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
Yeah, that'd be nice. And since they own the rights for Ghost Rider, you could have a nice segue into having the Ghost Rider pop up.
Damn, a Ghost Rider! I want the Wendigo.
I don't know. I could live with Nick Cage.
I want to hear
showing
that.
up.
I want to hear that scream.
But so anyway, as anybody listening can tell, there is a whole lot they could still do with the Hulk. I mean, a whole lot. They got years of decades of stuff to tap into.
And hopefully, after listening to this show, you'll look at whatever they come up with, which won't be none of this cool stuff, and go, I come up with so much cooler than this.
Yes. Hopefully, we have not sat here and ruined the Hulk for you. Nope, they're ruined. They can't. They're not going to take anything Disney puts out.
First off, y'all are acting like they're going to make a Hulk movie.
They will eventually.
They'll do it eventually.
It may be a decade from now, a complete reboot, but
Oh, yeah. I just meant MCU Hulk movie.
And some of this stuff could thread through other movies. You could have the Immortal Hulk crop up in a Fantastic Four movie if he was the villain of the movie, basically.
Yeah.
He goes to Reed for help, and Reed's kind of like, it's too dangerous, you don't really do this. He goes off and does it by himself, and, hijinks ensue.
Wait, did you say ensue or and sue?
Ensue. Hijinks ensue.
Okay.
But so anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and wrap here, I guess. Like I said, plenty of stuff that they could do with Hulk if they'll get around to doing any of it. And, really I don't care too much what they do as long as they get rid of that goofy Hulk and give me a Hulk that's not, a coward.
Well, instead, you're going to get She-Hulk. Congratulations.
Which I'm fine with.
Oh, yeah,
like
I am fine with She-Hulk as long as that's something in addition to them doing some stuff with Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We'll wait and see. I ain't got no great faith in Disney after Endgame. But so I've been your host, the experienced Some Call Jason, and with me as usual has been
the token not host, Tarky.
CEO 113, the guy that talks over people.
And the Todd Father just sitting here enjoying the chaos.
Well, Danny's comment's not going to make sense because I'm going to edit all that muckered up stuff out. And anyway, we'll see y'all next week.
Peace.